Welcome back to PhDCompletion.com. If you're struggling to understand your advisor, watch this video. Like and subscribe. This is real talk about how to manage your advisor and be successful in graduate school. This is an important relationship that might make or break whether or not you get out of graduate school with a PhD or EDD or some type of doctoral degree. It's important to remember what your advisor is and what your advisor isn't. Your advisor is not your best friend, not your BFF, best friend forever. They're not your therapist. They're not your financial aid officer. They're not your career counselor. And more importantly, they're not your mom and dad. It's important to maintain professionalism with this individual. Treat your advisor with respect and courtesy throughout your interactions. Remember, this person will be writing recommendations for you if you need funding. They will find funding for you if you have maintained this relationship. Nonetheless, it's important to remember that this person is your supervisor, and sometimes this person can be your mentor, but sometimes they're not. If they're not, fine, find a mentor. You need this person to sign off on different forms and different paperwork to move you through graduate school. It's important not to get into any negative interactions with this individual. I can't stress the importance of this relationship. With respect to the advisor, let's face it, manage your expectations. Sometimes we have high hopes that this individual will be our cheerleader, will be our mentor, will be our advocate. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes, let's quite frankly call it what it is, they're not. But figure out what it is that you want from them. And I personally can say when I was in graduate school, I needed my advisor to write me a positive recommendations, and I needed him to sign the forms that advisors have to sign in order for me to move through graduate school. That's it. Understand that your advisor has multiple advisees. And if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, they're not going to drag you along, kicking and screaming to get you towards the PhD line. If you don't want it, they don't want it for you. They will focus on people who are actually doing what's necessary to get what they came for, to get the PhD. And if you are lagging behind, if you're disinterested, well, they'll let you lag behind until you're ready to finish. Set realistic goals for meetings and feedback with your advisor. Be patient with the response time, but not so patient that you're not checking in or you don't specify when you need that feedback by. Turn over something that you want your advisor to read. You might consider providing an executive summary of what you're handing over. You might provide an outline. It's important to manage what you need from them. Just don't turn over 20 pages and say, hey, I'm done, and wait and wait and wait and wait. Because they have a lot of things going on, and if you want them to move your stuff up on their priority list, it's important to let them know when you want it back by, what information you're actually seeking. Perhaps you don't need them to read the entire 20 pages. Perhaps you just want them to focus on a particular equation, a particular table. It's important to say what you want what type of feedback you're looking for. And I'm always recommend that if you are struggling to understand your advisor, I suggest that you read your advisor's dissertation. It's available on ProQuest.com, and if you use your library's portal, you get more access to those dissertations than if you just use ProQuest.com via Google. Read your advisor's most recent papers. Sometimes we're struggling on how come when I present a topic to my advisor, a dissertation topic or a thesis topic, my advisor never likes it. It's important to know, what is your advisor an expert in? What is your advisor's most recent publications? What do they focus on? They're not going to be willing to read something that's outside their layer of expertise, because their job as an advisor is to help you with the research. If you pick a research topic that's not related in any way, shape, or form to what they're an expert in, they will nix the idea and tell you to start over. But they won't say, I don't know anything about that topic, or I'm not interested in that area that you're trying to drag me in. They won't say that. They'll just say, no, this is not a good idea. Maybe you should try something different. It's important for you to be successful to know what it is that your advisor is an expert in. Part of being professional is being on time. Punctuality shows respect for your advisor's time. Always strive to be on time for meetings and adhere to deadlines. If you need to reschedule, communicate your need to do so promptly and provide a clear reason, but don't make it a habit of rescheduling, because if it begins to sound like the dog ate my homework, that's going to be a problem. By all means, be early or be on time. When you're setting up meetings with your advisor, it's important for you to come with an agenda. Let's face it, if you value your advisor's time and you showed up on time, it's important to show that you have set up a meeting for a reason. Come with a list of questions beforehand to cover all of the essential points that you need to discuss. This demonstrates initiative and shows that you've put thought into this meeting prior to just showing up. Sometimes advisors say, you know what? When we have meetings, I set the agenda. And sure enough, I can agree to that. But I think as a graduate student, you need to stand up for yourself to say, okay, but I have questions that I need answered. When in your agenda can that happen? If that can't happen during your meeting, do we need to set another meeting where I get my questions answered? Do I get my questions answered at the end of your meeting? When can I get my questions answered? Now, of course, you say it in a respectful way, but don't pretend like you don't have any questions and you know everything, that you don't even need this person in front of you. This is an apprenticeship process, and they expect that you will need information, feedback from them. And so it's important to figure out when and how you get your questions answered. At the end of every meeting, of course, say thank you, but after every meeting, send an email follow-up that provides an overview of the things that you discussed and agreed upon. And don't worry about whether or not your advisor reads your email. They didn't even open up. They didn't reply back to me. Really, the email is a paper trail for your own purposes. It doesn't matter whether or not your advisor opens it up. It's if there is an issue later on, you have an email to point to and a date that you sent the email based on the things that you all agreed to during that meeting. The email follow-up is for your benefit, not necessarily the advisor's benefit. Briefly summarize the key points that were discussed, any decisions that were made, and the next steps that both you and your advisor had agreed upon. This assures that everyone is on the same page and keeps the project moving forward. I can't stress the importance of that paper trail, especially if you have an advisor who's always thinking of something brand new, a new idea, a new project, moving you across a chessboard in so many different directions that you can't keep track of. The email paper trail is part of that process, so that if they change their mind, you can point to the email, hey, in February on this particular date, we agreed on this. How does this new idea change what we agreed upon? I wish you all the best with following up with an email. When you give your advisor something to read, it's important for you, for your purposes, that you provide some guidelines on the type of feedback that you're looking for in the document that you have handed over. Whether you're seeking feedback on a thesis chapter, on a research proposal, on a prospectus, on a topic idea, provide clear instructions, highlight specific sections or questions you want your advisor to focus on. This helps them offer you more targeted feedback and streamlines the review process. Otherwise, they could put it on their desk, weeks could go by, and they don't get to it. It's about you helping them to get what you want. Manage the process. Help them, give them some insight in terms of what you need feedback on. I strongly recommend that you treat graduate school like a job, like a professional job. Think about it. If you had a regular job, there's no way that you would just show up the first day and then simply disappear for weeks on end. Your supervisor never sees you, have no idea what you're working on, and somehow or another they're supposed to believe and trust that you are actually doing work and actually making progress. Keep your advisor informed about your progress and provide regular updates on your research, highlighting your successes, but also highlighting your challenges. That being said, you will have challenges, and they expect you to overcome them by seeking help, and help might be from your friends first, the senior level people in your department, and maybe a postdoc in the lab if you're in a lab, and then finally from your advisor. They expect that you will have tried some solutions prior to showing up at their door to say, I'm struggling. Well, in their mind, they want to know, what have you tried before you showed up here? And to be impressive, you can say, I tried this, I tried that, I tried X, Y, and Z, and now I'm coming to the expert in the field to offer some suggestions about what I could possibly try, what I didn't think of. That's why I'm here. That's why I set up a meeting. By all means, Keep your advisor in the loop. If timelines change, if milestones shift, communicate this clearly and in advance. Don't wait till the day before it's due to say, oh, I tried, I couldn't, I really, really tried. The dog ate my homework, X, Y, and Z. If you know days before there's a looming deadline and you can see that what you're trying is not working, set up a meeting ahead of time to say, hey, these are the things that I've tried. I know we have a deadline coming up. Is there anything that you can think of that I didn't try thus far? And then they will help you. You go back and try to meet that deadline. By all means, they're there to help you, but you also need to say how you have tried to help yourself first. I have this slide about office hours in relationship to helping you locate your advisor. Sometimes you might have one of those busy advisors, don't know where they are, etc. If your advisor is teaching a course, your advisor has to have office hours. That's why it's important to you to keep on top of what your advisor is doing. If you need to reach him, her, or they, find out if they're teaching a course, and by all means show up at the office hours, because let's face it, the undergrads, they won't show. They will go and see a TA first before they see their professor. So make use of your advisor's office hours if you can't find them. If you're having a hard time setting up a schedule with them, use the office hours to your benefit. I always recommend that you be kind to the office staff. If you can't find your advisor, if you need to locate your advisor and you are familiar with the staff and friendly with them, they can find your advisor, locate them, whatever country they're in, whatever time they're coming back. Be kind to the staff because it can benefit you or not. It's just a suggestion. Thank you for making it through to the end. Like, subscribe, and comment. Let us know what more videos you would like to see from this channel.